Hey, my name is Jesper Sehested and I'm dyslexic. Here you can see my spelling bees from the 9th grade where I had 71 mistakes out of the 92, so I failed. In August I was talking at the Copenhagen Literacy Conference 2019 about how it is to be dyslexic and the joy of reading. The reason why I picked this subject was because, for example, when I was in school, when we were going to the library, all my classmates could read like books like Harry Potter and that kind of stuff. And for me that was absolutely impossible. So instead I could walk over to the children area, and there I could stand like looking through all the books. And of course I could use a lot of time because I didn't want to read. And one book I remember that I was reading was When Mary Got Lost. It's a book about a small girl. She's walking on the street. There's a door, a car door is open. She's go into the car and then she falls asleep. A man comes, close the door and drive the car away. And then she's lost because she cannot find a way home. That was the story. Luckily I can point out that she got home in the end. And when you have been reading that and spending more than like 20 minutes of reading that, the way you're thinking about book is not the best. I was definitely not having positive thinking about books, so throughout my whole school I wasn't reading so much. I was only reading if my teacher really forced me to do, otherwise I wasn't touching anything like books. Then something happened when I was in 10th grade. I met a girl, she became my girlfriend, and she was a person who really loved reading. At one point she went to the book festival in Denmark, and she got home with like a big stack of books, and then she came like, I bought you a gift. And I was like, of course I knew it was probably gonna be a book, but the book that she had bought for me was this Hot Sex Like This. And this was, of course, first I was looking and seeing, okay, this could actually be a fun book. I was 17 at the time, so I started going through it. Unfortunately, there was no images, it was only text. But now she has given it to me, and I thought, okay, maybe I should actually try to read it. So I started reading. A page like this could actually take something like 7 to 10 minutes to read. But I was also doing like, this is actually quite fun. I can actually learn something from this book. So I kept on going. And then after 3 months, this was the first book that I have ever read on my own spare time. And this was because it was something that I could use. It was something that I found interesting. Then many years later, I was going to high school and I was doing an assignment about the climate, and I asked my parents if I could start getting the newspaper, because at that point there was a lot about the climate. And they said, of course you can get that if you read it. And I said, yes, of course I'm gonna sit down and read it all the time. So every day I got home from school, I was doing my homework, and after that I took the newspaper and was looking through it and reading all what I thought was funny and what was excited to read about. Then 5 years later I met one of my friends, and we were talking about reading and that kind of stuff because he became a Danish teacher. And then I told him about this newspaper that I was still reading every day. And he was like, oh, that's really nice, then you really have learned to read through the newspaper. And I was like, no, I'm only doing this for fun. It's simply only because I think it's nice to read it. But he was like, yeah, but try and think about how much you have actually learned reading from doing this every day in 5 years. And that was for the first time. It was like, I have actually done what I was supposed to do in school. I was supposed to read like 20 minutes a day. I didn't do that. But now I have actually spent 5 years reading this newspaper, at least for 20 minutes every day. And now this is 12 years ago I started reading this, and I'm today also reading it every day. So for the last 12 years I have at least spent 20 minutes reading every day. And today I'm not a good reader because all the new words I cannot read them, but I know a lot of words and I can remember them how they look like, and that's simply because I have been doing this paper. So to finish off this mini talk, the point is that I'm trying to say is that for me as a dyslexic, it's not only skills that you need to think about, it's also you need to find something that's funny to read, that's interesting, that the kids actually want to read, because if they don't want to read it, they're not going to do it. Then they're just going to do like me and say books. keep them away, and then they're going to find something else to do. So it's so important that if you give something to a dyslexic, it also have to be something that they actually like, that it's something that they're going to find interesting. So that's sort of the main point of it. So thank you here from Denmark, and I hope you enjoy my small talk.